Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to share the books that I read last year in 2023. It's a lot, as you can see. I got back into my reading bag because of TikTok. I was seeing all the girlies on there just like sharing all their book recommendations and having these full-on conversations about the books that they was reading, and they sounded good, so I was like, let me get on. If y'all have read any of these or want to read any of these, let me know. But let's jump right into it. So the first book that I read last year, Womanevolve by Sarah Jakes Roberts. I tried to read it once like 2 years ago and I just couldn't, like I just wasn't in the space to evolve. I wanted to just keep doing what I was doing. I feel like last year I was really in a good space, like a better headspace to kind of like be on the growth and mindset and development journey. So first of all, the cover. Can we talk about how beautiful this cover is? Like, whoever thought of this concept of her being in the garden with her red, like this is just so cute. So basically the title speaks for itself. It's basically a book about helping women like push past their fears, actualizing your dreams and goals, like not being afraid to kind of break out of the mold and do what God has called you to do. Even if you feel like you don't have the tools and the resources that you need to make your dreams come true, like use what you got. Just like maximizing your potential. She wrote it from the perspective of Eve, and like y'all know how we blame Eve for like all the bad things that women experience. If you know your Bible, Eve is the reason that we have periods. Eve is the reason that we have pain during pregnancy and childbirth. That our desire is more for our husband than our husband's desire is for us. Like you know, she's the reason that these gender wars are going on, like all because she was disobedient to God, because she fell for the trick of the enemy. We were supposed to be in the garden frolicking, living in peace, not knowing evil from good. We wasn't supposed to be paying bills. We wasn't supposed to be enduring any of the things that we endure in this life. But because of Adam and Eve eating from the tree of knowledge, like we know good from bad now, and we have to experience like hardships in life. And so a lot of people are like, we can't stand Eve. When I get to heaven, like it's on side, Eve is up. But she basically like put it into perspective, like we all make mistakes as women. None of us are perfect, and if we were to put ourselves in Eve's shoes, like how many times have we folded? How many times have we been disobedient to God? How many times did we think we knew what was best and we didn't, and it made a mistake that not only hurt us but hurt other people in our lives too? So it was really good just seeing it from that perspective. Like, don't be afraid to mess up. If you want to grow, if you want to like push yourself and kind of motivate yourself to evolve from where you are, I would definitely recommend Womanevolve. It's kind of dense, you know, it's a little heavy, but she be dropping gems in this one. And overall, I would rate this book, I would say an 8 out of 10. Read Lip Theology by Candice Benbow. This is another like faith-based book, and then the tagline is for church girls who've considered tithing to the beauty supply store when Sunday morning isn't enough. This is a little controversial book, and that's the reason I got it. Candice, I was first introduced to her when she did an interview with Kev on Stage, and she was basically just saying like she doesn't believe in soul ties, that soul ties were something that we created in the church that was supposed to be like over spiritualizing like casual sex. I don't know what I believe about soul ties, but I was so hooked on hearing her say the things that she said, not because I feel like she was right or wrong, but because of the passion that she was conveying in her arguments. And she was basically just saying that soul ties are never mentioned in the Bible, and she was also saying if soul ties were a real thing, that's basically pastors trying to convince you that there's something that the blood of Jesus cannot undo or cannot fix. Because, you know, in church they teach you like, oh, you can't get rid of soul ties. Like once your soul is tied to somebody, tied to that person forever, and you start to inherit traits of their spirit and like all the bad things that they do and experience, that starts to get on you. And she was basically just saying like it's a scare tactic for the church to really scare young women into not having sex. And so when I heard her talking about it, like I said, I didn't necessarily agree or disagree. I was just like, oh, like she's spitting. Like I want to know what else she thinks about things. So this book is basically, it talks about her relationship with the church. A lot of it I disagree with, but I get where she's coming from. Going to this like pretty highly esteemed university for theology, like to study theology, and they failed her like you know, she had just lost her mom, and she, you know, kind of fell off for her classes. They would not allow her to make them up. Like, so many of her white counterparts, which were obviously going to school for theology, like going to school to learn about the same God that she was learning about, were just so disrespectful and kind of racist towards her. So like, I feel like she internalizes a lot of the pain that she's had with people, and like, you know, it kind of guides her. She talks about how like she believes in the ancestors and she prays to Jesus and her ancestors. I don't agree with that. That's not what I believe in personally, but hey, she be coming at them pastors pretty much. Like, she loves to argue with pastors. She will be posting stuff on Facebook to get these pastors all riled up, and they would, like, you know, be just like arguing back with her, and her mom hated that. She was like, you know, that it was so disrespectful, and her mom still had like this affinity towards church and the pastors, even though they didn't even, like, you know, appreciate her. She refers to God as like, not like as a man, but like woman and man. Like, she feels like God has feminine characteristics and that God can be she, and it's just like, I don't agree with all of that, but I understand her mindset and why she thinks the way that she does, and I just like how bold she is about her beliefs, whether I agree or not. That's why I wanted to read this book. Honestly, it's funny. I feel like it's relatable, especially for me. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of these pastors right now. Yuck, do better. I get it. I get where she be coming from. So I would give this book a 7 because it is entertaining, but like I said, I don't agree with everything, which you don't have to agree. I feel like it's cool just to read sometimes and learn people's like points of views on things. To the one that started it all on my book talk journey, Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I'm sure if you have ever like had book talk content on your page at all, or like you've ever seen a book review video from like a Black perspective, I can assure you that this is somewhere in there. I have not heard one bad review about this book, and you're not gonna hear it here either. I loved this book. If there was any book I would have started off with, I'm so glad that it's this one. First of all, can we get into the cover? Like, this cover, y'all, is so pretty. I love everything about this cover. Like, it's beautifully designed. Before I Let Go is about, it's a second chance romance, and it's about a husband and wife who get divorced because they're grieving. Like, they've just experienced loss after loss, like back to back, and they both grieve so differently. Like, Yasmin, which is the wife, the main character, she is like in her feelings, depressed, like can't get out of bed, letting herself go, looking a mess, like just miserable, weeping in her sorrow. And although her husband Josiah is equally sad, like he just doesn't express his grief that way. So in her mind, she's internalizing it as like, oh, he don't care. Like, we just lost all of this stuff and he doesn't care. And he's like, I do. Like, it's hurting me too, but I'm not about to just let my life like pass me by. You know, like I have to keep going. Like, and then I think something that's so relevant in this is that like, men don't get to cry and just give up. Men have to keep going. Like, they have a whole household to manage. They have all of this stuff that they have kids, you know, like he can't stop. He's the provider, he's the male, he's the head of the house. So it's like, yes, I'm sad, but I don't get the luxury of like laying in bed and being depressed all day. Like, I have to work for my family to eat, like, you know. And like, because of that, he has this hard exterior. He's like, she was trying to get him to like do therapy. You know how Black men are, like, I don't need nobody telling me what to do. Like, I'm good, I don't need no advice, you know. So he would not do the therapy. So that led to her like wanting to divorce him. And they have a preteen or teenage daughter. Like, she's pretty young, like 13, 14. And you know, like, divorce is really, really hard on kids. I know, I'm a child of divorced parents. She was just not taking it well, and she blamed her mom, like, obviously because she's looking at her mom be all depressed and sad and stuff. And you know, her mom was the one who initiated the divorce. So she was like basically developing this horrible relationship with her mom, like just being so rude to her. So imagine, like, she's already grieving all the loss that they've experienced, and now she has to deal with this daughter who has this disdain and this attitude towards her. Like, they were close before and now your daughter don't even mess with you, you know? So that's hard. They have a son. He's a little younger, I want to say like middle school age or like almost out of elementary, but he's very, very gifted. And his teacher, you know, lets her know that, like, oh, your son is falling behind. Like, we want to actually move him up a few grades, but now we're reconsidering it because we just feel like, you know, there's other things going on with him and he's not performing to the best of his abilities anymore. So they were like, you know, we would recommend getting him in counseling, and if he does good in the counseling, like, we would love to actually skip him ahead a few grades. So the kid is like, I don't really know if I want to do that, but you know, they look up to their dads. So Yasmin is like, Josiah, you need to go to therapy, because if he see you going there, he's gonna want to go. So Josiah's like, all right, whatever, I'll do it for my son. Josiah ends up making all these, like, you know, deep discoveries about himself in therapy, and like it really ends up helping him or whatever. So now he all like going through his healing journey and stuff. Yasmin and Josiah have a business together. Like, they're married, you know, their money was tied up, everything. Like, divorce is a thing. Like, it seems like it's really hard, especially if you have as much as they've had together. So they have this business, they still have to run it, obviously. It's not like they about to just cut off their whole source of income because of their divorce. So they still run the business. Josiah, you know, he's healing, he's working his stuff out in therapy. He starts dating one of their employees at their business. So now not only is Yasmin still like coming out of her grief from everything that they've lost, dealing with her daughter not liking her, dealing with her son kind of like losing his zeal and his shine in school, now she's like watching her ex-husband like be in a relationship as this happy, like, healed person with one of her employees. And it's like, as her boss, you can't like be rude to her or like discriminate against her because of it. So you still have to maintain your professionalism, even though you like, girl, what is you doing with my man, like, type. So I was just like, ooh, it's a lot going on in here. It's so deep, it's so layered. But neither of them really ever stopped loving each other. Like, even when Josiah was with the other girl, he was still like in love with her. They were like college sweethearts. So it's so good, y'all. I don't want to give too much of it away. There's so many good themes in here. Black mental health, like, it's really good. I love it. It's actually like one of my favorite books of this collection, and easily gets a 10 out of 10 from me. If I could recommend any book, it would be this one. So this right here was my next read, Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by Joya Goffney. This book was so cute. It's a YA, which means young adult, and it's about this black girl. Her parents have money, like they're set. It's this boy that she called herself, you know, having a crush on. And he just sees her as this like prissy black girl, because he's from the slums, y'all. He from the trenches, and he don't got it like she got it. So he feels like she's just like an elitist. He calls her Hillary Banks, like, oh, you bougie, like you a bougie black girl, whatever. So there's this like distinct like class difference, which I love. Like, I've never read a book that has like kind of explored this trope. Her dad is like all discriminatory against him, like high school. She drives a Benz, he don't even have a car, like, you know. And it's that kind of like dynamic between them. Like, he's insecure. He feels like she thinks that she's better than people because of the things that she has. She's like not happy with herself at all. She knows that she doesn't deserve the things that her parents are able to afford her. So she has this journal where she writes out lists of like everything. In that journal is a list of things that she has to do in order to like get her life together before graduating high school. And so she loses the journal. She just like, a lot of the stuff that people are looking at her like, oh, I wish I had this, I wish, is like a straight lie. Like, yeah, her parents have money and she has a lot of like nice things, but her parents went to Ivy League schools, and she told her parents that she got into an Ivy League and she did not. She faked the acceptance letter. She typed it out like on her own on Microsoft Word and like made it look real. They have it like hanging up. They're telling everybody like, oh, our daughter is going to this Ivy League, this Ivy League. She is not going there, y'all. She thinks that the boy that she likes is the one who stole her journal, and he's like, girl, I didn't steal your journal. But he goes on this like quest to help her find it, and the person who actually has it is like blackmailing her like, oh, if you don't do this, this, and this, like, I'm gonna release page 1 of your journal. And it's just a really good book. It deals with racism, classism, comparison, putting on appearances and faking, acting like you're something that you're not, and just like family dynamics. Like, people think, oh, they got this bomb house, like her parents are rich, they so happy. Her parents' marriage is up in the air. Like, it's a lot. I really liked it. It was really, really good. I finished this book in like 2 days. So for me, I would give this book, I want to say like a 9, 8.5, 9 out of 10. Y'all, this one right here, this book is called Monday's Not Coming. When I tell you this book gutted me, like ripped my heart out of my chest, I was in pain, y'all. Like, this is one of those books that sits with you for days after you read it. Like, you know how you watch like a scary movie or something, or like you watch a show like a mystery and it keeps you thinking about it after you've turned it off? This book does that. This is another YA book, a young adult. It's about a girl named Claudia. She's just not accepted. Like, she's tiny. She's not one of the cool kids. Like, people don't really gravitate towards her. So she only has one friend. Her friend's name is Monday. In the summer, she goes to stay with her grandma in another state. She gets back home to start school, and she noticed that Monday's not there. And she tries calling Monday, like she tries texting Monday. Monday is nowhere to be found. And she's like, this is not like her. Like, she never misses school, all of this stuff. So she goes to look for Monday at her house. And Monday's mom is like horrible, like like Precious's mom. She won't tell Claudia nothing about Monday. She's like, don't come back over here. And this is another case where like Claudia and her family are well off. Like, they have a nice house, you know, both working parents, successful. And Monday is like in the projects type girl. Like, we trying to keep you out the hood and you running over there to go find Monday. So all this time keeps passing by. She's like the only one who cares that Monday is missing. So she starts telling the teachers like, are y'all not looking for her? Like, she's supposed to be at school, ain't it laws? Like, can y'all tell me something? And the teachers are kind of just like brushing it off. Like, literally nobody is caring that this young child is missing. And so Claudia is just like, forget it, I'm gonna take it upon myself to find her. And it just goes through like the story of it kind of like flips back between like when Monday was missing and before she went missing, and it kind of plays out their friendship. Like, Claudia, she's like dyslexic, and she's not as bright as Monday. Like, Monday is this bright star student. Monday was doing Claudia's homework. That's the only reason Claudia was even passing school. Like, once Monday left, they like, girl, you can't even read, like, you can't even write, how was you getting these good grades or whatever? And it's like, this girl's life is falling apart without Monday. Like, the kids are starting to bully her and pick on her because Monday was always the one, like, don't mess with my friend, you know, type. And like, now she's just like going through everything by herself. She's very like sheltered. Claudia is super, super sheltered. They also talk about Monday, like, she had a whole bunch of siblings or whatever, and she had an older sister who was known for like being a hoe and like being fast. And so Monday starts like, you know, doing stuff she's not supposed to be doing. She don't got no business doing that. They like 13. you know, like sneaking out, going to boys' houses at night and, you know, doing what they do. But she never told Claudia any of this. So Claudia's going around like asking like, have you seen Monday? Like, when was the last time you seen her? And all these niggas is telling her like, oh yeah, we seen Monday, like we seen her or whatever. And it's just like, she doesn't know that side of Monday. So like, she's kind of discovering all these things about her friend. She's like, dang, I feel like we told each other everything. Like, even her own family, Claudia went to her own sister and was like, where is she? Her sister like, it's none of your business. Like, stop worrying about her. Monday's not coming. Hence the title, Monday's Not Coming. And so the ending the ending broke my heart. It's so sad. It literally says on here, a mesmerizing punch in the gut story. It will punch you in the gut. Like, I was not ready. I was not ready for what happened to Monday, but just know this one was good. I would definitely give this one a 9.5/10 out of 10. Like, ripped me to shreds. Heartbreak U. If y'all see my video where I was like hella busy, it was like a hella busy week in my life vlog, I talked about Heartbreak U. That's when I was reading it at the time. I love this book. What I will say about it is not well written. It's just not. It's from like a little urban publication company, but it is so good. So it follows 4 girls that are in college. They're freshmen in college. They go to a HBCU, which really resonated with me. That's what made me want to read it. First girl, her name is Frankie. She does not trust men. She feels like men are only good for one thing. Y'all know what that is. Her dad was a pastor. He ends up going to jail. Let y'all find out why if y'all read it. So she feels like she never really had the love of a man in her life. She never had like that connection with her father figure, which she's lacking. She's just like this hard ass. Like, she's from New York. They go to NCAT, by the way, if y'all know y'all HBCUs. So she goes from New York to North Carolina. She has this, like, y'all know how New York people are. They have this abrasive, like, tough girl kind of personality, like, don't mess with her type, you know. And she ends up meeting this preacher's kid, just like her. His name is Josh, and he is not her type at all. You know, he trying to be cool with her. Like, he sees her acting up. He's also from New York, so he knew her before they went out to school. And he sees the stuff that she gets herself into with guys, like just throwing herself at anybody who will have her. And he's like, you need to heal that. Like, something is not right, and you're not doing this because it's who you are. You're doing this to escape something. So he's trying to help her heal, and she is just like, leave me alone, don't talk to me, like going off on him. Like, she cannot stand him. Her whole story is like, can she overcome, you know, all her sexual trauma with guys and like really learn to love somebody and let somebody love her. Next person is Paris. I love Paris. She's mixed, but she's like super whitewashed. So she's from California. She's from LA. She lives in Beverly Hills. Her dad is a big time lawyer. He passed away, unfortunately, but he left her and her mom millions of dollars. Like, her mom don't care about nothing but money. Her mom is a party girl. She want to be out with her friends all the time. She don't pay Paris no mind. Like, she didn't even drop Paris off to school. Like, she literally got Paris a driver for school and was like, all right girl, bye, see you when you get back. Like, what kind of mother are you? So she feels like, you know, of course she has all this money, but she's alone. Like, and then she was so upset because she did not want to go to HBCU. Her mom forced her to go to a HBCU because her dad went to NCAT, and she was like, your dad will be so happy that you're following his legacy and following his footsteps or whatever. And she like, girl, my friends is going to Berkeley. Like, I want to go to Berkeley. I'm not thinking about going to no damn NCAT. But she ends up really liking it. She starts dating this thuggish dude. Like, he's a drug dealer, a trapper. Like, he is like known in the city for being like the hood nigga. So it's this pretty much this privileged, whitewashed black girl, mixed girl dating like the bad boy type of thing. Paris is so sweet, like so sweet. She has a heart of gold, and she's just willing to help any and everybody, like, you know, with her money. Asha, I cannot stand Asha. She's the one that's originally from North Carolina. Like, NCAT is her stomping ground. She grew up there. And they're like, oh, cool, like, you can show us around. She's like, I don't need to be friends with y'all. I got my own friends. Like, I'm not even here for that. Asha is not even trying to be in school for real. She's just going to appease her parents. But also, she's a gold digger. She comes from, you know, like, this cool family. Is not, they're not too well off, but they're not broke either. So she's like, I'm not worried about that. I don't want to work. I don't want to go to school. She's like, the only reason I'm here is to find like whoever is finna go to the league, either basketball or football. She don't care, as long as she know that they finna go to the league and get some money. She trying to, like, basically be a gold digger, and like gets herself into all these situations with these different dudes. And what's hard about her is that all the other girls have each other, but she doesn't. Like, she's kind of like the outcast. It's like you putting yourself in all these situations and you don't have nobody to run to when they start going bad, you know. So she has a horrible attitude. I don't like her. She's a gold digger. Like, she's a bum. Just don't like Asha at all. She's not a girl's girl. We don't really rock with Asha. And last but not least, I already told y'all in the last video, my girl Hope. I love Hope. I resonate with her the most. Like I said, born and raised in the church, the Pentecostal church, very strict. Her dad is a single dad. Her mother passed away. Her dad is like super strict on her, super sheltered with her. He barely even let her go to college. The only reason she got to go out of state is because her aunt lives in North Carolina as well. So she's like going to church in her long jean skirts, like with her bun with her bun, like no experience. She don't drink, she don't smoke, like none of the party type things that people do at HBCUs, like none of it. She's just like super conservative and like reserved. And them girls was like, we about to fix this little look up. You can't go out with us in them little Walmart shoes. Like, we gonna get you together. So she starts like loosening up a little bit. She meets this guy named Miko. And Miko is like super sweet to her. Like, all the other guys are like ragging on her, clowning on her, and like, you know, just bullying her, but he's the only one that's being nice to her. So, and he's like the finest boy supposedly at the school. Like, all the girls want him, and it's just like, why is he being so nice to her? Like, what do he want with her, you know? And I knew it was a motive behind it. Y'all gonna have to read it to figure out what his motive was. But all this time, he started off playing with Hope, and then he seen how good of a woman she was, and he started falling in love. But by the time she figured out his little game, it's like, don't play with Hope. All four of the girls have their own unique journeys, and it's like, it's a quick, entertaining read. Like, don't go into it hoping for like literary depth. You're not gonna get that here. But it's so entertaining, it's funny. Like, I caught myself actually like laughing out loud at it. And yeah, definitely would recommend. I would give this book a 9 out of 10. I have the follow-up to Heartbreak U. It's 2 books in the series. This is Heartbreak U, the finale. So these are both books in the series. I will say the first one was better, but in this one you see Paris kind of like reliving the relationship that she was in. It ends badly. Like I said, he was a drug dealer, a trapper, so you know, he get caught up in the system and the law, like they looking for him, you know, type stuff. So she has to like navigate that, and it's just a whole bunch of drama and mess with them. Hope, y'all, Hope. Ugh. I don't want to give too much away about Hope, but Hope ends up in a little situation that's not good, especially with her upbringing and the way she was raised. It's like, girl, you like, why would you let this happen? Say it on the back of the book, so I'm gonna just tell y'all. Hope ends up getting pregnant by Miko. And yeah, it's just bad because it's like now she knows what he did. Like now she knows what his motive was behind even talking to her, and it's like, you pregnant by this dude who really didn't have pure intentions towards you, and you know your daddy gonna kill you, right? Like he's about to snatch you up out of that school, all of that. Like it's just real bad on my girl Hope. And I was just so sad for her because it was like, dang girl, you slipped up and fell in love with one nigga and now with this boy who you can't even trust no more, for real. And then he want to have the nerve to have an attitude with her. It's like, you did this to me though. Like, you are the reason that we're not cool no more. So, I don't know. They whole little dynamic was ghetto too. And then Frankie and Josh are like starting to get real serious. He really helps her grow as a person. And like the faith in book 1 is not the faith in book 2. Like she going to church. She giving her life to Christ. Like she's really getting serious about, like, you know, her goals and what she wants to do and stuff. She's trying to navigate like his whole church scene. Like she's stepping into his faith, and it's kind of changing her for the better. And it's one more girl, Asha. Oh, Asha, this was not her book. She hits rock bottom in this book. Like her parents give up on her. The dude that she thought she was finna like try to leech off of and marry ends up dating some white girl and like totally brushing her off for this white girl. So she actually has to get a job. Oh my god. Yeah, you actually have to work for the things that you want. And it's not just getting handed to you by niggas that's tricking on you no more. So she's like, you know, all feeling bad and sorry for herself or whatever, but she ends up turning it around too. Like she's accepts the fact that she has to take control of her own life and not wait for a man to provide things for her. So she, you know, starts taking her schoolwork more seriously, and she ends up meeting a guy that's like not her type, but you know, that's still, you know, cool enough for her to get to know and stuff. And he puts her in her place too, like all the time. So I love that. And yeah, this book was not as good as the first one, like I said, but it was still really good. I would give this one like a 7.5 out of 10. This is the next book that I read, Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl. This book, I liked it too because it has to deal with church stuff too. Like the main character is a preacher's kid. Her mom is like first lady of the year. Like her mom is so serious about her church and like the image that her kids have, and her mom is just super strict, and the dad, which is the pastor, is the more kind of like laid back one. Like he's a lot more loving and understanding. Like she feels like she can approach him, as to where her mom is like, if mom finds out, I'm dead. And so they have this boy that goes to their church. He's the drummer. Red flag. They love him. Like her parents are like, if this is who you're gonna be with, this is who you need to marry. Like we will not accept anybody else. Basically like grooming them to be like that couple in the church, like, you know, in the first family. And so they have another daughter, the main character's sister. Her name is Miracle. And Miracle is just like, I'm not with all this. Like y'all not finna like control my life, and I'm not about to have to live for the church, like for the church's approval. And she's like, you know, I want to go to art school. And her parents are like, art school? Like you need to do something more meaningful. We're not paying for that. So her sister is like, bye. Like y'all don't got to. Her sister just up and leave. You know, that really affects her. And so she feels all this pressure to just be perfect and like do what her parents want her to do. And while they over here rooting for Dom, which is the drummer, her boyfriend, they don't even know that Dom is sitting up here pressuring her to have sex. She keeps like forcing herself to like try with him. Like her parents allow them to go out like unsupervised, you know, but only for a short amount of time. This is also a YA book, so these kids are in like high school. So like every time they go out, her boyfriend is like, oh, let's try it. And she just can't, like mentally, she just can't wrap her mind around it. And so she feels like she has this condition to where like she has something called vaginismus or something like that, to where it don't, like it just don't do it for him or whatever. So she like teams up with this girl at her church. This girl at her church, her mom loves the girl. Her name is Sasha. Her mom loves Sasha. She's always comparing her to Sasha, like, why you can't be more like her? She always coming to church and she prays and she's involved in this and she's involved in that. She's over this ministry. Like, Sasha is just like the picture perfect church girl child. And meanwhile, they don't even know Sasha be doing it. Sasha be doing it up. So she teams up with Sasha and this other boy that her dad is kind of mentoring at their church. He is super bad. Like, he always get in trouble. He's a troubled teen or whatever, and his parents are like kind of sticking him with the pastor, hoping that the pastor can kind of help him turn his life around. And so the main character ends up falling for that guy, the bad guy. And Dom is like all jealous. They end up breaking up. They get caught. These two, the boy that she ends up liking and the main character, get caught like sneaking around or whatever. Her parents are pissed. Her parents are pretty much pissed. Like, we don't want you hanging around him. Like, he's a bad influence, all this stuff. And he's just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what these church people think about me. I don't live for them. Like, I'm doing this because my parents are making me or whatever. And so she kind of develops that attitude too. Like, she stops living for her parents' approval and starts living for herself. And eventually her mom is like, you know, getting on board with her. So it was cool. As you can see, Monique, that's the main character's name, Monique. I couldn't even remember her name. But what I really liked about it is that it kind of touches on, like, again, how the church molds girls into believing that their worth and their value is within their sex life. It raises awareness to how, like, the church is very unfair when it comes to teaching girls and teaching boys about sex. So yeah, really liked it. I would give it like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. Whew. I read a lot of books. The next book that I read is called Real. It is by Kennedy Ryan. So it's described as a Hollywood Renaissance novel. It's basically about this actress. Her name is Neva, and she is on Broadway, but she's like just an understudy. So this whole time she's like, oh, I'm not really no star. Like, I'm just in the background waiting for my shot. And so the lead actress gets sick or something and has to fly out somewhere. And so finally she's like, oh, this is my chance. Like, I get to go up on stage. I'm the understudy. Like, it's my time. So she goes up and performs this role and she kills it, y'all. And little does she know, in the audience that night where she gets to go perform is this big time Hollywood director, Cannon Holt. A lot of the girls on Book Talk say that Cannon is their book boyfriend. Like, they love Cannon. To me personally, I wouldn't want a Cannon because he's very, like, arrogant. Like, he knows he's that nigga in Hollywood. Like, he knows all the big movies pop because of him. And, like, I don't like arrogant men. And so, like, to everybody else, he presents himself as, like, this hard dude. Like, don't talk to me, you're beneath me. Like, get away from me, like that type of attitude. But to Neva, he's like this dream guy. So he sees her perform and he's in the process of writing a movie. It's like a biopic about a fictional character who's this performer and a singer. And she obviously is a performer and a singer. So he sees her and he's like, that's her. Like, I want her to play this role. And so all these people that are above him, the, you know, Hollywood giants, the people who are paying to produce his movie, are like, nigga, you seen this girl perform one time, like, and she's an understudy. Like, don't nobody even know who she is. She's never starred in a movie before. Like, Broadway and like movies are two totally different things. So why would you pick her? He's like, bro, I just know, like, this is her. She's the perfect person for this role. So needless to say, he ends up casting her. The big time people are not happy about it, but they like, whatever, like, this your movie. If you want to risk, you know, not getting a good return off of this investment by picking up some nobody off the street, that's on you, you know. So he just has full confidence in her, and by the time that she starts, you know, filming for the movie, everybody's now convinced. Like, she's convinced everybody. Her acting, her singing, her dancing, like everything, she's killing it. But she's putting so much wear and tear on her body, and we finally discover that she has lupus. So her hair is starting to fall out, she's starting to pass out, like, you know, all of this stuff from like just working way too hard to prove herself, which is important because she does have to prove herself. Like, this is her first big time role. Nobody's gonna go see this movie off of her name, so her performance has to eat, you know, and she's putting all this pressure on herself. And so like the Hollywood, big time Hollywood people are getting mad. They like, man, you picked this girl, like, and you didn't even know, like, you know, that she had this condition or whatever. It's stopping production. Like, they can't shoot no more scenes because she in the hospital. Like, it's just a whole bunch with that. Like, they're losing money basically, and losing time because they have a set time for this movie to come out. And like, he don't care. Like, he don't care. He's like, this is my girl. Like, I'm not worried about no money. I'm not worried about this movie. Like, this can wait. Like, her health is way more important, and he's going off for her, like advocating for her. He is going to war for this girl, and I think that's why the book talk girls love him, because he's just so sweet and gentle and patient when it comes to her and her alone. But everybody else, they can get them hands. And so it's just a lot of layers in this. Like, he was in a relationship before with one of his other actresses, and when they broke up, she drug his name through the mud. Like, all the other big time people that he was working with was basically telling him, like, you don't need to date no more of your actresses, bro. Like, you've seen how that went before. Like, why would you allow yourself to fall in love with another one? Like, people are gonna think that you gave Neva this role because you love her and not because of her talent. Like, you bringing this girl off the street that don't nobody know, and you just giving her a role, and now you dating her. Like, that's not a good look. He did not care about none of that. He was like, and like, that was his energy towards everybody. Like, he was so head over his heels for this girl. Like, he had every reason professionally not to get involved with her, and he did it anyway. And then with her, like, it's also an element of like family drama, because her and her sister do not get along at all. Like, literally, she don't have nobody in her family that supports her. She really do only have Cannon and one of her best friends. So her sister is horrible. If her sister betrayed her real bad, and you would think her sister would have some level of remorse, like, dang, I really did my sister wrong. No, she did not. She was like, I'll do it again, like, type. And it's just so sad because her sister is extremely jealous of her. Like, she's watching her sister like take off and be a big movie star and be on Broadway and move to LA and, you know, like, take off in her acting career, and she's still at home, like, you know, just living her little mundane everyday day-to-day life. And so it's a real bad family conflict here, and it plays a huge part in it. Like, just read it and find out. In a sense, like, Neva is kind of jealous of her sister too, because it's just like, you're the one that gets to stay at home and still be like involved with the family. Like, the family don't even talk to me no more. They all treat me like I'm this big time star, and, you know, you're the one that gets to be home for Christmas and Thanksgiving. Like, she doesn't really feel embraced by her family anymore. And so yeah, y'all, just, it's so good. I would definitely give this book a 9.5 or a 10 out of 10. It also flips back and forth between like the script of the movie and the present, you know, day with the characters. So it's really good. I loved it. Another Kennedy Ryan read. It's really thick, y'all. This one took me a minute, and sometimes when I felt myself being like, okay, like, this could be over, every time I felt like, okay, dang, like, this is dragging, it would just be something else that catch my attention, like, oh shoot, what happened, you know? So it was real good. This is All I've Wanted, All I've Needed by A.E. Valdez. My homegirl Zyra put me onto this book. Shout out to you, girl, for that. It was really good. It was such a cute, like, breeze of a read, you know? Like, it's a palate cleanser read. Like, it's very sweet. It's so, like, bright and uplifting. Like, it was a really cute book. It's basically about a girl named Harlow. She was dating this white boy, and he proposed to her, and she's like, no. She rejected his proposal because she just felt like he was cool, but he wasn't her man. Like, she just felt that like she couldn't spend the rest of her life with him. She's very selfish, and he's very like entitled, and he's very arrogant. And so she felt like he didn't really care about her goals and her dreams. Like, she wants to be this huge photographer, and like she's very into taking photographs. Like, she loves photography, and he wouldn't allow her the room to do that. Like, he wants her to be a baseball wife because he's like a star baseball player, and just like follow him around the country playing baseball. She's like, no, what about my goals? What about my dreams? He like, girl, you should just be lucky to have me, like, type. And so she ends up breaking up with him. She ends up like taking a leap of faith and moving out of state, living with her uncle and aunt, and they give her a job. They put her up in this really nice home, and she ends up meeting this guy. His name is Asen. Book boyfriend material. Asen is super kind to her. Like, he just sees the good in her like immediately. He's like, she's just a ray of sunshine. Like, he calls her sunshine. He feels like she's just so sweet, and like she's just a really genuine and like nice like wife type girl. So they fall in love. It's just about their love story. It's a very, very slow burn, which means like they stay friends for a really long time and like really get to know each other to the point where they become like inseparable. Her ex-boyfriend obviously is very jealous, and it's just like a whole bunch of stuff with him, but he's such a non-factor that it don't even matter for real. And yeah, it was cute. Like, it's no other way to describe this than it's a cute palate cleanser. Like, after you read something heavy like Monday's Not Coming, you follow up with something like this to be like, okay, let me reset. Like, not a lot of drama, just like pure genuine love. Like, aw. And the way that Asen was caring for Harlow, like, he paid attention to the small details. Like, if she says she likes the slightest thing, he is on it. And like, when things were starting to get rough for her, he would just drop everything and be there for her. Like, he was so supportive and just so loving and gentle and caring. Like, top tier book boyfriend right here. Loved it. It was a really, really great read. I would give it like a 7.5/8 out of 10. Whew. This book right here, Kennedy dang on Ryan, y'all. Long Shot. You want to talk about a book that's gonna piss you off and make you cry, and you still love it, and it's still a beautiful book? Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. This book, a trigger warning for domestic violence and like abuse, basically. So it follows the main character. Her name is Iris, and she is in a relationship with a very successful basketball player. He's white. His name is Caleb. Caleb is arrogant, he's entitled, he's rich, he's spoiled. He feels like the same, like Iris should just be lucky to have him. Caleb's father is extremely concerned about Caleb's image, and he basically like is telling Iris like, oh, you know, you need to mingle with the other basketball girlfriends and the other basketball wives. Like, it's a good look for Caleb. And Iris is like, I'm not here to do that. Like, I'm here to see him play, and I love basketball. Like, I'm just here for the game. And so not only is Caleb trying to control her, Caleb's family is trying to control her too. And the thing about Iris is that she was raised by a mom who was like basically just a prostitute. Like, she brought all these men in and out of Iris's life based only on if they could provide for her, the mom, not Iris, based only on if these men were giving Iris's mom stuff. money, whatever the case may be, housing, whatever the case may be. Like, she never saw her mom in relationships based on love, only on money. Like, basically her mom was literally selling herself for money all the time. And she vowed, like, it was her and her cousin, Lotus, both flower names, Iris and Lotus, who basically seen their moms doing that, and they vowed, like, we will never be like that. We going to school, we getting an education, we are not gonna depend on men to provide for us. Like, we are gonna live on our own terms. And that's exactly what she did. Iris loves sports. She loves basketball. She went to school for sports marketing. So she's like, you know, I don't want to sit on the sidelines and cheer for him. Like, I want to use my degree. I want to, you know, make a good life for myself. He's rich. He got millions off of contracts and brand deals. Like, I want my own money. Caleb, not having it at all. So Iris gets this huge opportunity to go interview to work at a sports marketing company with this, like, really well-known sports marketing manager. She kills the interview, y'all. Kills it. Soon as she goes to leave, she starts throwing up. And so she's like, what the hell? Turns out she's pregnant. And so she's like, man, I thought we were always safe. Like, we use protection every time. There's no way I can be pregnant. Whole time this man is plotting on Iris, like trying to trap her basically, and clearly that's what happened. So she ends up meeting August West, which is Caleb's #1 rival. Like, they've been rivals since childhood. August hates Caleb and Caleb hates August. Everything that August has, Caleb wants, and vice versa. So August is like really trying to get drafted. He's a much better ball player than Caleb too. So his goal is to get drafted by, like, his hometown basketball team. Caleb ends up getting on the team that August wants, and August is like, damn. So he ends up going to this, like, little pickup, like, makeshift team that they just put together. Like, they take all these really great players and just create a whole new team for them. And it's just like, that's cool, but they don't have no stats. Like, they're not known for anything. They're not, you know, in the running or looked at to get a ring or anything like that, you know. So you know, he's jealous of him because of that. But then he meets Iris and he finds out that Iris is Caleb's girl, and he like, damn, like, you got my team and you got my dream girl. Like, him and Iris really hit it off. Like, they had so much in common. They talked about their upbringing and, like, their family and all of that, and they find out, like, they have a lot in common. They start getting into real deep conversation, and August is just like, oh, I want this girl so bad. Like, you know, he's like head over heels for her, and then it's like, my arch nemesis has this girl and I don't. So it's just a whole timeline of August, like, seeing their relationship progress on the outside, because now he's looking at it and he's like, dang, like, Iris is finna have this nigga baby. Like, that's supposed to be my baby. That's my girl. Like, that's supposed to be my girl. Little do he know, Caleb is beating the crap out of Iris, like, forcing her to stay inside. He made her drop out of school. Like, he literally hired a security guard to watch Iris while he's away at games. Like, she's not allowed to leave the house at all. Like, she cannot do anything without, you know, being under this man's hand. She tried to escape. He stopped it immediately. Like, it was nothing that she could do. You just have to read it. I know it sounds crazy. You just have to read it. She literally tried to get out, and he used his money, he used his influence, and he used his power to keep her, like, basically chained to him. Like, nowhere to go, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. She was getting abused so badly. Like, it will bring you to tears if you, like, are triggered by it. And so it was so painful to read, especially because they have this, like, newborn toddler infant daughter, and it's just like, it's like, he was so evil, and he swore that he loved her. Do this to somebody that you love. The way that he treated Iris, he was crazy as hell. It was like, either I have you or nobody has you. And so it was just very, very hard to read at certain points. Caleb is a textbook narcissist. So in the public eye, he's making it look like, oh, me and my wife Iris, my fiance Iris, we're so happy, we're gonna be engaged, and I love my family, I'm this family man, all of this stuff in front of the cameras. His publicist is basically like, oh, the NBA is having a, like, I guess like a little summer camp for kids, and the wives are gonna be there. Like, it's very important that Iris is, like, you know, seen in the pictures with all the other girls or whatever. So Caleb is like, well, I'm not gonna be in town, so Iris can't go. But the publicist kind of convinces him to let Iris go. So of course he has this bodyguard going everywhere with Iris, making sure she don't try to run off and escape and all of that. So Iris ends up at the training camp, and lo and behold, August is there too. They have that chemistry, they have that bond, so they bond and they cool and all of this stuff, and August is just falling more and more in love with her. One thing I will say that I love about this book, it's a scene where, like, the other basketball wives are talking about one of the other women, and they're like, oh, she's not here today, her husband must have beat her again, like he must have put his hands on her again. Well, all these other women are like, I don't know why the girl just won't leave, like, get some balls, like, grow up, put your big girl panties on and leave. And Iris is just sitting there like, bro, if only y'all knew that it's not that easy. I hate when people say that, especially from an uneducated place. So many people have that mindset, like even with the whole Cassie and Diddy situation, like, well, why do they wait so long to speak up? Why doesn't she just say something? Why doesn't she just leave? If it were that easy, don't y'all think that people would do that? Like, this girl literally tried to leave, and I don't want to give it away, but just read it if you want to know why people, survivors of abuse, don't just automatically up and leave. Read this book. It's more to it than that, and I feel like she handled that beautifully. I'm so glad that was a theme that she touched on, just like the judgment from other people who have never been through what you've been through. Like, y'all don't know how evil and manipulative and controlling and abusive people can be. Like, it's not always just black or white, you know? And I love that she put an emphasis on that in this book. Finally, I don't want to say how, I don't want to spoil it, she's finally able to get help. And once she is finally able to be free from Caleb, and her and August, their love story starts. You want to talk about another book boyfriend? August West. He's so sweet, he's so gentle, he's so caring. He reminds me of that story in the Bible of Jacob and Rachel, where Jacob is like, I don't care how long I have to work and wait for you. 7 years? That's it? Oh, that's nothing. Like, August was willing to wait for Iris no matter how long it took. Like, he was just in love with her. He protected her. He took care of Caleb and Iris's daughter as if that little girl was his own. He loved that little girl. And he ends up getting it, you know, he ends up beating his rival once again. He always beat him on the court. But now it's like, okay, you may be on my home team, but I got your girl and your baby. So now what? You know, like, it's just such a good book. It breaks your heart and then puts it back together in the most beautiful way. And Iris stood on business. She did not let August, like, use his NBA money on her. She's like, nope, I said I wanted to do sports marketing, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm never gonna be like my mom. I'm gonna always have my own. And yeah, she's just a boss. I love Iris so much. And after everything that she went through, she endured so much pain, literally, physically, emotionally, mentally, and she still, like, made something of herself and just had this happy ending. So as painful as it is, y'all, get through this book. Like, I promise you, there was times I was reading this where I had to just like, oh, Caleb was just a monster, a devil. Like, it's so many powerful lines in here, but she was basically saying, like, y'all see this man on TV looking like this family man, And y'all don't know that I go home to a devil every single night. And ooh, it just hit me because I'm gonna just leave that there. It be some devils. 10 out of 10. 10s across the board. I cannot speak highly enough of this book. Everything was beautiful. Like, so well thought out, so well intentioned. Even the trigger warnings, like she said it, protect yourself. Like, if this is going to trigger you, put it off. And I love that, because as somebody who has not been in a physically abusive relationship, it was even hard for me to read certain parts of this book. So 10 out of 10, like, easy. And last but not least, if you're thinking to yourself, oh, that cover looks very similar to Long Shot, it's because it's in the same series. So there's 3 books in this series. This is the first and the third book. I don't want the second one, it doesn't speak to me, but I really wanted to read this one. This one is about Lotus, which is Iris's cousin, and she ends up dating one of August's teammates, Keenan. And like I said about Long Shot, their parents, their mothers were just like gold diggers, prostitutes, like selling themselves for money. Now Iris, her mom obviously was into that too, but Iris still had a little bit of a relationship with her mom. Like, they weren't always cool. Her mom is very scandalous, of course, like horribly scandalous. If you know, you know. But she still was able to, like, okay, I could deal with her, you know, on a need to deal basis. Lotus, ugh, her mom is trash, garbage, 0 out of 10, worst. Okay, between worst moms, I feel like it's her mom in Hookshot, Lotus's mom in Hookshot, and Monday's mom in Monday's Not Coming. Like, horrible mothers, horrible. Lotus's mom was involved with this guy who was obviously, you know, paying her way through life. And trigger warning for this too. Very, very, very hard trigger warning for this as well. You know, he was ARPing, I don't want to say the word because YouTube might block it, but y'all know, Lotus when she was only 12 years old, like a child. And the mom was just like turning a blind eye to it because the guy was paying like for everything. And so she don't talk to her mom at all. Her mom ended up sending her away and choosing the guy over her. And Lotus was then raised by her grandmother. Her grandmother taught her everything she knew. Her grandmother was like a spiritual lady. And that was kind of hard for me to read through too as well. But her grandmother was like, you know, they're from New Orleans. So the voodoo and all of that, like her grandma was real big on that. And she taught Lotus like basically everything she knows about womanhood, about spirituality and things like that. Lotus, because of what she went through as a child, that abuse, she does not like men. Like she feels like she is super sexual, like overly sexual, but she has no intimacy, and she doesn't allow herself to get emotionally connected to guys. And she went through all of these guys. Like she ended up, you know, like having a sexual affair with this guy at her job, and like afterwards she just felt filthy and dirty and like used. And so she was like, you know what, I'm taking a break from sex. Like I'm swearing off of sex until I meet somebody that is going to pull that intimacy out of me. And lo and behold, August West teammate Keenan Ross enters her life. And the girls love Keenan. The girls feel like Keenan is a book boyfriend. I don't really see it. I feel like all the book boyfriends the girls really be liking, like I don't really agree. I mean, Keenan is a great guy, but I wouldn't be like, oh, he was just like to that level, you know, for me personally. So Keenan is a divorced single dad. His wife was cheating on him with one of the other players, and like it was public, you know, because like they're famous, they're NBA players. So he goes through the hurt and the public embarrassment of that, like cameras all in his face, asking him about the teammate, asking him about the wife, all of this stuff. And then to add insult to injury, his wife gonna go on a show called Baller Bay, like a reality TV show, and like just air out all that stuff, like why she cheated on him and all of this stuff. Like it's just super embarrassing. And they have a 14-year-old daughter. The daughter is like, you know, in denial. Like the daughter is like, no, my parents are getting back together. Like, you know, she really wants them to work it out, and they're going like to family counseling to help her understand, like, girl, no, like your dad is not messing with this girl again. Like, yeah, that's your mom, I know you want them together, but you're not even holding your mom responsible for what she did to him. Like the difference between this daughter, Simone, and the daughter in Before I Let Go, Deja was like in Before I Let Go, like, oh, my mom did that, I don't with my mom. Simone in here in this book is like, oh, my mom cheated on my dad, but they'll get back together. No, like that's not how this works, you know. So they're kind of working with her through that. And like his ex-wife is right, she's putting all the blame on Kenan. Like, well, if you would have did this, then I wouldn't have cheated, and you're hurting Simone. We can, like, she wants to get back with him too, but obviously just for the money and for the image. She's like, we can work through this, you're being selfish and all of this and that and the third. So he's going through his own little drama and stuff, and she's going through like actual real trauma. And so you know, they're just not obviously in the best position to be dating. But as time goes on, like Lotus just can't help herself. Like he's doing all the right things, like he's being very like adamant about him wanting her. He's like, you know, I'll wait, I don't care how long it takes for you to trust me, like I'll wait. You don't even gotta tell me like what you went through, I will wait. That's what I love about both of these men. Like they're so patient, and they are just like, take the time that you need, but when you're ready, I'm gonna be here. And so it was just beautiful. Like this is a really good book. You see Lotus kind of following her own dreams and stuff. Like she wants to be a fashion designer, so Iris is doing her thing in the sports world, she's doing her thing in the fashion world, and she's, you know, like making it. She's making a good living for herself and stuff. And so Bridget, which is the ex-wife, the white ex-wife, she's like hating on Lotus big time. Like she is just hating on this girl. She's like, you're ruining our family following after this girl. They have an 11-year age gap between them, Lotus and Kenan. So she's like, oh, you following this little girl around, like all of this stuff. I actually haven't finished it yet. I'm still in the process of reading it. I'm like way more than halfway done. I think I only have like 100 pages left. So yeah, y'all know, y'all remember my little bookmarks, how cute they are. Started from page 1, now we're here. So I'm on chapter 42. I'm almost done. But so far it's really good. I liked Long Shot better, but I do really like where this one is going. Lotus is really like tapping into her spirituality to help her like kind of release and forgive everything that happened to her in her past. Not forgive the person, but forgive the situations. And she's really big in her Bible and stuff, and her grandmother taught her like the Song of Solomon. Basically, like that's how you know a man really loves you. And everything that like Lotus is telling Kenan about what her grandmother taught her, he's applying it. And that's what I like about him, because he's not spiritual at all. Like he don't believe in the stuff that she believes in, but he's like, I don't care. Like if this is the train that you want to be on, like let's get on it, period. And so he starts writing her like Song of Solomon Bible verses, and they're so beautiful. Like I found the one who my heart like yearns for, like all of this nice stuff. Like he gets her lotus flowers and just sends her like lotus flowers, and like he's so intentional and patient about her, and it's real beautiful. It's a really good story of like you know, like releasing the bad and like accepting love, like learning to accept love after you've been hurt, after you've been betrayed. And yeah, it's really good. These are all the books that I read last year. Let me know if you've read any of them so far in the comments and your thoughts and opinions on them. Thank y'all for tuning into my book review. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And yeah, don't forget to comment because I really want to know what y'all think. Like which story stood out the most to y'all? Which one sounded most interesting? Please let me know. And until next time, bye!